Welcome to the Lift Your Story podcast with guest Simone Knego, best-selling author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Ann. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I am with...
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. We'd like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
In this episode, we're pleased to have Simone Knego, and she is a best-selling author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. So to start out, I was really impressed. You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro to raise cancer awareness. Now, are you a mountain climber as such?
No, I'm not a mountain climber. I joke that I've gone camping before, but I had never climbed anything. It was not a bucket list item. It was just kind of one of those things that a friend of ours had climbed it the year before with the same organization, and he reached out to my husband to see if my husband was interested. And of course, perspective is reality, right? So the way I say my husband responded was 1, 2, 3, no, thank you, call Simone. And they did. They called me, and I said, absolutely.
So just like that, you decided, I'm going to go climb.
Yeah. And then I researched what I was doing. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just get myself into? I mean, I live in Florida at sea level, and, Kilimanjaro is 19,341 feet. So I had a lot of work to do, and I did that. I got myself in shape and really committed to it, working out every day, and the mental part of it as well, really looking at it as that this is something that I want for myself. I want my kids to see that when you set your mind to something and you put the work behind it, you can achieve it. So it was really important for me to kind of jump in full force to get it done.
Great example for your kids.
Yeah, they were impressed. I was too. I was like, oh wait, I did this.
So when you were making the climb, were you prepared for what you did? The actual experience as to what you thought it would be is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was actually way more than I thought it would be, honestly, in so many ways. So the people that I traveled with, obviously, at this point, I'm not just attempting to climb a mountain. I'm traveling with cancer survivors, people who are climbing in honor of friends and family, either who have passed or that were in treatment. So it was such a motivation to put that one foot in front of the other, even when we were completely exhausted. So it was definitely more than I expected because of the people that I met. And yeah, it was definitely tough. It was really cold. And again, I'm Floridian. So it was like, wait, okay, I don't know what I was expecting, but, and there were times where it was really tough, but I just kept, in my mind was like, you got this. You got to just put that one foot in front of the other to move forward.
Well, that had to be a very awesome experience.
Yeah, life changing in many ways, really believing in myself, and again, showing my kids that, wait, okay, I'm not a mountain climber, but again, you put in the work and you really follow through mentally and physically, that you can reach your goals.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So tell us about your kids.
Yeah, I have 6 kids, ranging in age from 13 to 25, and our oldest 3 are biologic, and then our 17-year-old is from Ethiopia, our 15-year-old is from South Korea, and our 13-year-old is also from Ethiopia. So we have a really fun, crazy family.
You don't see that very often. People that have that many kids, number one, 6 kids, but then 3 of them are foreign adoptees. So what led you to that, to adopt those kids?
It was something that we had talked about years before, and we felt, and we still feel, that there are just so many amazing kids in the world waiting for a family to love them, and we felt like we could we could be that family, and we are that family. And I would say today, even the younger ones, obviously our oldest is no longer at home. He's actually coming home next week, which will be fun. But the younger ones, if you said today, hey, we're thinking about adopting again, they would be like, yes. And I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, I'm old enough, and the minivan is full. But it actually is a really special thing that all of our kids are so open and welcoming, and really, they're kind. They're amazing kids.
Yeah. Well, you certainly changed the lives of three of them for sure.
Well, I think actually more than that, they changed our lives. We really see the world differently, different perspective, and um, hopefully that comes through when we meet other people and they see our family. And I'm always open, like when people, you can tell, like people are like looking at us trying to figure out, okay, what's the situation? What's the situation? I'm like, ask the question so I can help in any way, shape, or form. Because if I can impact that one person, if I can inspire one person to do something different or change their mind on something, I want to answer the questions. So,
Yeah. We've got some friends that we grew up with that adopted two little girls from Haiti. And one of them just graduated high school and doing extremely well, honor student, I mean, really, really neat kids. And they got them when they were maybe 2 or 3 years old. I mean, they were still real small. And then they've grown up here in the States, so, and just our friend Nancy, she says, I hate to think what they would be happening to them had we not gotten them at the time we did.
yeah, it's such a hard thing because you don't know what life would have been like, right? And I think the hardest thing is that when you adopt a child, they start at a place of loss, right? They've lost everything that they had before they became part of our family. So there's always this bittersweet piece. Yes, I mean, I couldn't imagine my life any other way, but I know in the back of their mind sometimes they have to wonder, okay, what would have life been like? Our son Ari, who is 17 now, he was 4.5 when he came home, and he actually had quite a bit of memories at 4.5 years old. But that's 4.5. Like you have, a huge piece of your life that is now no longer there, and I think it's a really hard thing. Again, kids are amazingly resilient. They they just want a family that loves them. I mean, that's like such a big piece of our world, right? The more love, the better.
We definitely need more of that in the world for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we do. So your book, The Extraordinary Unordinary You, that's an interesting title. So how did you come up, number one, writing the book, and then how did you pick that title?
So writing the book it actually came from, I have been doing a bunch of public speaking, and when I would get off stage, people would say to me, do you have a book? Like, no, I'm not a writer, limiting myself. I'm not a writer. I'm not a mountain climber. I'm not a writer. But, and so the more people would say it, I'm like, well, why can't I write a book? I should write a book. Let me write my stories down again, because, ultimate goal is impacting that one person. And so, so I said to my husband, I'm going to write a book. And he was like, okay, can't wait to read it. I mean, he's always super supportive, but he was like, I'm sure in his mind, he was like, you're not a writer. And I actually didn't have him read it until it was completely done, until we actually got the published copies, because I wanted it to be my perspective. So they're not all my stories. They're stories about our kids, but they're stories from my perspective. Just like when he said, 1, 2, 3, no, thank you, call Simone for climbing Kilimanjaro, same kind of thing. And so but when he read it, he loved it. He was like, I am so impressed. I was like, well, thank you. And then the title of the book, it really comes down to that for years, I struggled with a lot of things in terms of self-esteem, self-respect, all of those pieces that, and I would kind of justify who I am. I'm just an ordinary girl. I'm just Rob's wife. I'm just a stay-at-home mom, all of those kinds of things. And the more I kind of, dove into this process, the more I was like, yes, I'm ordinary. I'm an ordinary girl. I am a wife. I am a mom, all of these things. But each one of us is unique. Each one of us is unordinary. And each one of us has extraordinary things that we bring to the world. And so I really wanted it to be a title that talked about all of us, because that is all of us, because we are all unique. We just have to change the way we see ourselves. I think a lot of times that we focus on what everybody else is thinking, not looking at what we're thinking and looking at what we're capable of.
Yeah, it's like you say, what you do matters. And I think most people don't really realize that you're doing things, they may not seem like they're anything, but to someone else, they're huge.
Yeah. And we definitely don't give ourselves enough credit for the little things we do every day. We have no idea what anybody else is going through, right? So when you stop to have a conversation with someone, even just letting someone in busy traffic, or being kind when you're on a call with someone that's customer service, they are human. They're not just customer service, right? So all of those things can really make a difference in someone's day and how they move forward. So it's the ripple effect. You lead with kindness, and then the next person leads with kindness. And I think it changes a lot of things. But again, we have to realize that those little things make big differences.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned customer service, because we've had some people on and they are in customer service, and they will tell you, this situation happened. I could have done this and it would have been a whole different thing, but I was, kind, thoughtful, listen to the person, try to help them through it, and and would say, it could have went two ways, but this way was better for both of us.
Yeah, it's funny. My husband hates dealing with anything customer service related. He's like, Simone, can you do it? I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do it. But so recently I was like, I am not doing this one. You have this. Remember, like we talked through the whole thing of, and he laughs at me. I'm like, just be nice. Like, again, it's not, the person's name isn't customer service. They are a human. They have a name. Ask them about their day. Start off like, so that you're not like angry. Like there's no reason to be angry. This is all fixable stuff. And so he's like, okay, I did it. I pulled a Simone. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, I started the conversation asking about their day. And I heard this person's life story. You wouldn't believe it. Like we had this great conversation and she fixed my problem. I was like, see, there you go. There you have it. I was like, like if we could do more of that, it would just make things, our days would be so much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still like,
go ahead. No,
sorry.
Go ahead, Lori.
I was going to say, I still like my story of being on the phone for 6.5 hours. And it wasn't consistent. It was, this person transferred to this person, lose the call back. And it went on for 6.5 hours. And I was steadfast. I was going to be super nice all the way through it. And at the very end, I told them that I deserve an award for being the best customer. Because
yeah, I had a 3.5 hour one last week with our daughter has Crohn's, and we've had the most difficult time getting her medication approved. Even though the insurance company has approved it, they couldn't trace it. They couldn't figure out from the insurance company to the prescription insurance to the pharmacy. They can't, their systems weren't connecting. And so I'm like, I call the insurance. They're like, it's approved. I'm like, yeah, but the next person doesn't know. And it was 3.5 hours. And all of a sudden they had that, oh, wait, I see what's wrong. And they fixed it, but 3.5 hours. So, and again, if I was going to be rude about it, because it wasn't an easy fix, they would have just been like, we can't help you. And I get that. Like, I can see that as soon as someone starts yelling at somebody, like, it's very hard to want to help somebody when you're not being kind. Like, it doesn't take a lot of effort to be kind. Just be kind.
Yeah, my wife went through thing like you just not what you're talking about with her mother. Well, you need to have your mother calls. Well, she's in a nursing home. She can't speak. She can't write. I'm her power of attorney, and my wife is, and she was saying, I just need for you to call CVS and tell them it's okay to put this in a blister pack, but they won't take it from me because the nursing home the medication has to be this way or they won't give it. And she said, so I just need you to call CVS and say, it's okay, we approve it. And they go, oh, that's all you need? She goes, yeah, that's all I need. If you could do that, that'd be great. She will hang on just a minute. So she gets, okay, I've contacted them. They're going to take care of it. And any future medication, they've already got authorization to go ahead and put it in the blister packs. So you should be fine. My wife, oh man, thank you so much. But, and a friend of mine, he always says, it depends on how you frame it. That was his big saying. Now you got to be, when you tell them this, you have to frame it in a certain way.
I always say, I need your help. I need your help. I'm struggling with this situation and I haven't been able to find someone to help me. Can you help me? And they always say, yeah, how can I help you? And, again, it's like anything, and trust me, I'm human. I have my moments. I was with my daughter at Starbucks, going through the Starbucks drive-through, and I was waiting because the line was full. And so I left some space so that people could go around me if they needed to. And sure enough, the line starts to move forward and someone else from the parking lot just comes and jumps around me into the line. And I instantly lost it. I was like, I cannot believe this person just cut me off and this is ridiculous. And so I'm with my daughter who's 13 and she's like, Mom, I think you might need to reread your book. I think you forgot a few things about patience and understanding. We have no idea what this person is going through. She gave me the whole lecture. And of course now I'm laughing hysterically because I'm like, why am I getting upset about this is so ridiculous, and then of course we get up to the window to pay and the person who cut us off paid for our drinks. And so then my daughter said, can we pay for the person behind us? And then it was the whole conversation of how long do you think it will continue for? How many people will buy drinks for the next car because someone bought a drink for them? And anyways, but it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, I am human. And sometimes I need the reminder of, hello, that is not how you do things, Mom.
It's interesting because you mentioned the pay it forward. I was in a drive-through one morning at McDonald's. So I go up, to the pay window and the lady goes, it's already taken care of. I go, what do you mean? Well, that person in front of you paid for yours. I said, you're kidding. She said, no, you're good. I said, okay, I'll pay for the one behind me. How much is theirs?
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never had that happen. And it just caught me by such a surprise.
It makes your whole day good though. For me, I felt good the whole day. I was like,
Yeah. And she said, well, they told you to have a nice day.
And it's those it's a little thing, but it has a huge impact. So,
Yeah.
And that's why I think that, again, we don't give ourselves enough credit for these little things because they do. I will remember the Starbucks story my entire life. There's a lot of things that I have forgotten and will forget, but those kinds of little moments really have made an impact on me.
Yeah.
I do have to say there is a funny joke that they had. I don't know if it was on TikTok, but the guy says, he comes up to the window and the lady says, oh no, the person in front of you paid for you. And the guy was so excited, goes, really? He goes, well, then I'll pay for the person behind me. She goes, that'll be $250, please. It was a big order, right?
Yeah. How about behind them?
Yeah. I'll pay 2 cars back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is funny.
But I mean, really, as you go through your day, you do little things and you don't think anything about them, but the impact it may have on someone else, you have no idea.
Yeah, because we don't know what anybody's struggling with. We also don't know, again, over this past year, the human connection piece. a conversation we might have with somebody, it might be their only conversation of the day. Like, do we really want to leave a conversation, a negative conversation with someone if that's the only human contact they have for the entire day? So I try to remind myself of that a lot, that like we have no idea that if they've talked to anybody else today or had any other experiences today. And so it helps me.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in a line in a grocery store with a big basket full of groceries, and somebody behind you's got like 2 items, you know, and they're thinking, "Oh my God, I gotta wait." And you try, "Hey, look, you only got 2 things. Why don't you just go ahead?" Really? Yeah, I only got 2 things, you know. And thank you, thank you. I'm in a hurry. I've got, you know, I got to go do this, this, and this, you know. So, but it's always nice when some little thing you do that you don't even think about, and someone tells you, "Oh, I really appreciate this. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much." You know, and you know, you're like, "Oh, I opened the door for you. Big deal," you know. I mean,
I opened the door for somebody the other day. I held the door for, and it was like, I don't know, I forget where I was. And there was a guy, he walked through, he's like, I don't think a woman has ever held the door open for me before. Thank you so much. I was like, it's okay, we can hold doors too. But it was cute. He was like, you know, really like super smiley and excited about the fact that I held the door open for him. And I was like, okay.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, those little things matter. It's like you say, they really do matter. Whether you at the time know it or not, it matters to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know?
And always like for me, people say, well, you know, you say you know, try to say hi to everyone that you are, you know, that you make eye contact with. I said, yeah. And the question is, well, what if they don't say hi back? And I was like, that's okay, because like I'm being me, like this is who I am. And so if they don't, you know, want to say hi back, that's okay. Most times they do. Most times they're like, oh, hi.
Yeah, yeah, or just smile.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then I have my kids will say to me, I'm like, you know, I'll be like, you know, it's okay to say hi to people. And they're like, but you taught us not to talk to strangers. I'm like, okay, like, let's go there right now. But yeah.
oh, but you're right. I mean, you know, you know, just smiling at somebody. If you're walking by somebody, they're kind of like you, kind of they're down and out, or you know, like they're really thinking about something. You say, "Hey, how you doing?" Smile. Oh, oh, I'm good, thanks. You know, and the whole demeanor changes.
Yeah. Again, little things, big impact.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
It
people were
wasn't.
saying that a smile was lost through COVID because of the mask, but I said, no, they can still see your eyes smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can definitely see it in people's eyes. It might take a little bit longer. I noticed that I was on a flight recently, and the flight attendant was smiling at me, and I was like, I don't know if my eyes are smiling enough right now for her to notice I'm smiling back. And I was like, did the extreme eye smile.
yeah. So, Simone, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Best way is through my website, SimoneKnego.com. There's a box where you can connect with me. You can email me. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Everything is, if you search Simone Knego, you will find me. Yeah, and I would love to hear from you. Again, the human connection piece is really important to me. So I'd love an email, anything to have a conversation.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So what
Thank
would
you so
be
much.
what would
Oh,
be
sorry, go
your
ahead.
what would be your parting words of wisdom to our audience?
Ooh, probably I
Not
got
to put
lots.
you on the spot right now.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Really, it goes back to that we don't need to change who we are. We need to change the way we see ourselves. And I'm not saying be complacent, don't do anything in your life. What I am saying is that when we realize the value that we bring to the world, we're willing to try more things. We're willing to reach out to help others. The world really opens up to us because we feel that sense of confidence and that realization that the things that we do, the conversations that we have make an impact on the world. So we all have the same value in this world. We just need to realize that and move forward with that.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for being our guest. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.